Hi, and welcome to a show about transit, about Freedom Fourth, and about 4th of July service from ABQ Ride, the City of Albuquerque's Transit Department. Hi, I'm Rick DeReyes. I'm the Public Information Officer for ABQ Ride. And joining me today is Annette Paez. She is our not only operations manager, but our associate director, and probably one of the people to whom this responsibility of the 4th of July and Freedom Fourth probably rests on more heavily than most. But we're going to talk a little bit today. One of the things that's going on is the fact that usually, at least since 2005, ABQ Ride has had service, park and ride service for Freedom Fourth. That's the big event at Balloon Fiesta Park on 4th of July. They've had it from the east side, from Coronado Center. Also on the west side parking, it had been at St. Pius and over the outflow parking at St. Joseph on the Rio Grande. That has changed, and that'll be very important coming up. But first of all, let's talk to our Associate Director, to Annette Paez. First, I wanted to find out that traditionally there is no ABQ Ride service on the 4th of July, which is a Saturday this year.
That's correct, and it'll remain the same. We will not have any service on Saturday, July the 4th. We will only do our park and ride service to and from Balloon Fiesta Park for the big Freedom 4th of July park event.
ABQ Ride has done this since 2003. We were looking back at some of the other stuff.
We were. Didn't realize we had done it that long.
Yes, and back then it started as a shuttle service off of Alameda Avenue to Balloon Fiesta Park. Then it had to expand. But this year is a little different. In years past, there had been, always been, at least since 2005, a shuttle that went from St. Pius at 10th High School and the parking lots from St. Joseph on the Rio Grande off of Coors. That has changed. That is no longer the issue because that parking has changed on the west side. Where has it gone to?
That is correct. So this year we're excited. It's going to be at Cottonwood Mall, and we really think this will be a really good place for individuals to go and park and maybe go before the park and ride and go into Cottonwood Mall. For us, it will be a little bit easier. It's a little faster, quicker turnaround time to Balloon Fiesta Park. But again, as Rick has indicated, no park and ride this year at St. Pius, the 10th High School, or St. Joseph's on the Rio Grande Church. That's partly why we're doing this. We're trying to get everyone, aware of the new change. And again, it's at Cottonwood Mall.
Now, in reference to Cottonwood Mall, we are talking about the north side of Cottonwood Mall. Specifically, it is in that parking lot, which is just north of Old Navy. It's not too far away from the main entrance, but it's north of Old Navy. There's a whole big parking area, and that's actually the parking area in between the Old Navy on one side and the Regal Theaters on the other.
That's correct.
How many, is it comparable, the parking spaces we'll have on that day to what we had, say, for St. Pius and St. Joseph on the Rio Grande?
It is, and so traditionally we use about 1,000 parking spaces, and we'll have that available at Cottonwood Mall. The beauty of this is that it's one place, right? So we traditionally would be at St. Pius, then the overflow would go to St. Joseph's. So this will be easier for individuals who use the west side park and ride at Cottonwood Mall. They'll just park at one place, and we'll go from there to Balloon Fiesta Park and back, and it will be easier for people.
Now, we're looking at, for instance, 2013 statistics that showed approximately 17.5 thousand passenger trips on the 4th of July.
A lot,
should we
yes.
should we end up having more? Could people still conceivably park out of that parking lot still at Cottonwood Mall?
Yes, they can. They can use any parking spot within Cottonwood Mall. I think the best thing for people to do is try and stick to the north side of the mall, only because it will be easier for them, to walk, and they won't have to go such a great distance. But yes, there will be plenty of parking for everyone to use at Cottonwood Mall.
The convenience is such that if you don't have to, I think the parking at Balloon Fiesta Park is, I think it's $10. So as opposed to $1 for your ride on ABQ Ride, but we're talking probably, if it's not as far south as the previous location had been, you will probably get your car a little bit faster than you would have in previous years.
Well, that's our goal. Look, our goal every year is to get people out of there as fast as we can. With some things we just can't control, and part of that is that there are a lot of people that go to this event. But based on the fact that we're not traveling, as you've indicated, as far south, we really believe the turnaround time will be much faster. which will help everyone who's going to the park get out faster, and it helps us in every way, shape, and form.
Now, now we know now that there is that new location at Cottonwood Mall on the north side for people to park on the west side, but nothing has changed on the east side.
Nothing has changed on the east side. We like to give people options. So option 1 is going to be the west side Cottonwood Mall. Option 2 is going to be, if you live on the east side of town, you can always go to Coronado Shopping Center. The park and ride is actually just west of Dick's Sporting Goods. We do a bus lane only on San Pedro, basically from uptown to Manal. And, you know, whichever is easier for someone, and quicker, faster, whichever is more convenient, we are more than happy to have you.
So we're talking about the area that's the front San Pedro, and it's right next to Dick's Sporting Goods, but there's that whole parking area
Yes.
right in there. So people can still traditionally use that.
Yes.
Well, of course, we're talking about cost, $1 for adults, kids who are, or should I say, first of all, honored citizens or students 10 to 18, 35 cents. Do they pay before they get on the bus? Do they pay as they get on the bus?
So what you're going to do is, and this is a great question, because, you know, a lot of people don't ride the bus traditionally. This is their first experience riding a bus, and we actually really welcome that, which is probably another separate conversation, but we're really hoping to get people to ride the bus again. But with that being said, when you board the bus, there's a fare box as you enter into the bus, and you just put your money in there and just take a seat. The beauty of it is that we only are charging you for the trip going. We aren't charging for the trip back, so when you get loaded on the trip back, it's just get on the bus and we're going to take you. So it's only going.
Now, of course, there is an admonition that it's cash only, no credit cards, no checks, no nothing, no bus passes. You pay the dollar cash. But the other thing is that we mentioned that it was honored citizens, that 62 years of age or older or disabled, or kids 10 to 18, 35 cents. What happens if you're 9 years of age or all the way down to infant?
If you're 9 and under, your children are 9 and under, they ride for free.
So conceivably, you'd have to be able to recoup your costs by stuffing 10 people into a car to pay the $10
Exactly.
parking fee, as opposed to you could end up taking 10 people.
Leave the driving to us. Makes your life easier, and we're more than happy to do it.
One of the things is that we start out at both park and rides at Cottonwood and Coronado. Service will start at 3 o'clock. How late can people attempt to take the bus to Balloon Fiesta Park?
We traditionally say that 8 o'clock is the cutoff time. So we want you to be at either Coronado or Cottonwood Mall by 8 p.m. Remember, we got to get these buses back to the park and ride site, to Balloon Fiesta Park, to get ready to bring people back. So 8 o'clock is the cutoff time.
The last few years that we've done that, there have been a couple where it was cloudy and it got darker a little bit early. And I'm not sure if they started the fireworks. I know that there's a certain time to start the fireworks, but they started the fireworks. It almost seemed as it got darker, it happens at sunset. And if you've got a cloudy skies, you've got that, you don't want to necessarily miss that. So if you're leaving at 8 o'clock, I think you're kind of chancing it by if you're going that late. So probably it's best there to get a little earlier.
I agree with you completely. I think it's again, the sooner you get there in terms of the fireworks show, if that's what you're going for, you should get there before 8 o'clock so we can get you down there.
So when do the trips start back to Coronado and to Cottonwood?
Well, we do it right after the fireworks just basically start. So once we see that first one go up, people actually literally start coming, and we start loading and we start leaving. So right as soon as the fireworks starts, right after we start. So
ideally the buses will be running up to what time?
Well, we usually get people out of there no later than 11:30. We advertise 11 p.m. We know that people may be in line, and we'll get everybody out of there, but it is 11 p.m.
People start to, I know that in order to enjoy it, because you're going to see music, you're going to see, there will be places for you to buy stuff there as far as water and beverages and things like that. But people are going to see music, they'll take stuff with them on the bus. What is appropriate to take on the bus?
Well, this is a family event, and we recognize that, and we recognize that people want to take things with them. So, I think things that are within reason, blankets, strollers, some pop-up, umbrellas if necessary. some small chairs, fold out chairs, even coolers and picnic baskets. I mean, the only thing we would say is that, we may check your coolers or your picnic baskets because we don't want individuals to take alcohol into the bus. It's not allowed in Balloon Fiesta Park, and it's not allowed on the bus. But really, the goal is to have people have fun. We want them to take things that will let them have fun and have a good time. So those are some of the things that we know people traditionally take every year.
And you can bring picnic food, or if you decide to hit the Colonel on your way over there, that's
Absolutely.
something. Coolers and picnic baskets are subject to search prior, and by getting on the bus, you are essentially allowing them to take a look just in case somebody should happen to sneak more than an adult or more than one adult beverage. Now, what is not allowed on ABQ ride buses going to Balloon Fiesta Park?
Well, we're looking for glass containers. We're looking for weapons, fireworks, of course, open containers, not big pop-up items like big pop-up tents, and not, you may think this is funny, but not a barbecue grill, not cooking stoves. There's things that we are okay with within reason, but remember, we still have to take a lot of people, and some of that is combustible and it's dangerous, and we don't want that in the vehicle. So, but within reason again, but no big pop-up tents and no barbecue grills and things of that nature.
Camp stoves, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Now, a few years ago, actually my first year at Transit was 2011, and the employees will take the bus closest to them to get to working that day, because we are almost always, not always, but almost always required to work that day. Somebody was trying to get on the bus with a small dog, and they said, well, the dog wants to go. We had no place to leave him. And the argument was made, well, pets are not allowed on ABQ ride buses. They said, yeah, but this isn't the normal run of ABQ ride. Whether it's the normal run or not, pets are still not an option.
That is correct. You can take your service animal. We're more than happy to accommodate a service animal, but pets are not allowed on the bus.
Now, we are talking about folks that you mentioned fireworks. More than a few people have attempted to take fireworks in. If ABQ ride does not catch you, there is a chance, if you're trying to set some off, that bringing them into, first of all, it's illegal to bring them into Balloon Fiesta Park. It's also illegal to set them off in city limits, despite what some people will do. If you're caught on the grounds with fireworks or trying to do that, you're subject to the laws, and there will be police there, so you're subject to the laws there. But ABQ ride doesn't want to have to go through that whole rigmarole where they're trying to take things away from you.
Right. We don't want to engage in that. That's why we try and have these informational sessions beforehand, providing information through press releases and ads and flyers through cultural services. So we're trying to be proactive to get people to know don't do it beforehand, so we don't have to deal with any of that. So don't bring fireworks, don't bring combustible items and things of that nature.
Interesting you should talk about proactive, because in our planning as a department for all of this, one of the things we've tried to do is we're attempting to get the word out into as many places as possible. Be looking for ads, of course, in the newspaper. We'll have billboards up. We'll have our website. We'll have news releases. You can watch TV. They'll be able to tell you. But no matter how much we talk about the change that it's now Cottonwood and Coronado, Cottonwood and Coronado, we fear that people may not pay attention, and they may still end up at St. Bias and St. Joseph on the Rio Grande off of Coors. And we'll probably have some sort of signage there that'll tell the unfortunates what's going on.
We will. We're going to have signs up there letting individuals know Park and Ride is no longer at St. Pius or St. Joseph's. Please proceed to Cottonwood Mall. I mean, there's always that variable that people may not be here, or they don't necessarily watch a lot of TV, or they don't have access to, seeing ads or billboards. So we know that. And so with that, we are, again, trying to be proactive and let people know, hey, you're at the wrong place. Go to Cottonwood Mall, and so yes, we will have signs there.
And for this year, it might be a little difficult because people might just pull, for instance, a me and just get in the car and drive, because I've been known to do that. Just get in the car and just start driving. My wife will tell me that all the time. But there will be people who may just go ahead and pull it. But for this year, it's most it's most urgent because it's the first year it's going to happen. But it should get much easier in intervening years as we go along.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that people will know Cottonwood, the big C's, Cottonwood and the Coronado Mall. Now, one of the things going on is that 4th of July, of course, is a traditional holiday that ABQ Ride observes, and with that, we do not have the traditional service on that day.
Right. It's an interesting year because the 4th of July falls on a Saturday. And so, when it's during the week, Monday through Friday, of course, then we don't have service that day and we just provide our park and ride service. But this year, the city holiday is actually Friday, July the 3rd. So we will run regular service Friday, July the 3rd on the city designated holiday. So, again, as you indicated earlier, on Saturday, July the 4th, we won't have service. We're only going to have our park and ride service.
But because it's going to be out there that most city employees will have the 3rd off. It's the designated city holiday. Some people will be calling us up and will say, well, are you still running your buses? That's business as usual.
It is business as usual for us on Friday, July the 3rd.
And that
every route, every Sunvan will run its regular schedule. Commuters, our rail runner stop will again be on regular service.
Yeah, because the rail runner, New Mexico Rail Runner Express, has said that they are running their regular weekday service. So for ABQ Ride, there's the Rail Runner Express bus service that will be in there as well,
yes.
And as well as the commuter service, because we run commuter routes in the morning and evenings on the regular day. But however, on 4th of July, if somebody, since there will be customer service won't be open, there won't be fixed route buses, there won't be Sunvan running. But if somebody needs to make an appointment for Monday or Sunday, which is regular. July 5th will be Sunday service and regular service for Sunvans. If somebody wants to call up on July 4th and says, I need to make that appointment, they still have the ability to do so.
Right. So although we won't have regular service and customer service won't be available for fixed route information, customer service will be available to take Sunvan reservations for Sunvan for Sunday or after on Sunvan. So they'll be available from 8 to 5.
It is something that we do for every holiday, especially for even if ABQ Ride is off on those days. Say for Memorial Day, that was always the norm, that we did have somebody available by phone for people to make a reservation or so.
That is correct. Even if on those holidays where ABQ Ride is not providing any service, we still have customer service available for individuals to make Sunvan rides.
People will watch the buses from Balloon Fiesta Park rolling in, and then they watch them rolling out, and we have, I don't know if people really understand the undertaking that is,
Quite interesting.
Well, I wanted to say the department, but especially you go through and putting this together. How far in advance are you planning for for Freedom 4th?
For Freedom 4th, we start in March, basically. March.
And then this year, of course, it was a little different in making some of those.
It was.
There's a lot of, I don't think that people also realize that a lot of personnel, but especially drivers, a lot of drivers have to be enlisted in order to do this, because not everybody is working normally on a Saturday or even working a holiday.
That's correct. And so, I think what most people don't realize is that for the transit department, most of our staff works. And so a good majority of our drivers work, and a good majority of our staff other than drivers work. So we're all in it together, and we're all out there together. But yes, we do use almost, a good percentage of our drivers do drive and have to work that day.
There's a lot of adrenaline too, because having participated in that, from the very moment that you get there. Of course, your day starts a little earlier. My day usually starts when I work that event. Usually starts at 4 o'clock with getting on a bus and going to Balloon Fiesta Park. But your day usually starts, I'm guessing, about 8 o'clock, maybe earlier?
We usually start earlier in the morning, and I'm usually out there no later than noon, making sure that each side is up and ready, that the barricading company has been there, that all the barricades have been put up correctly the way I want them, signage is where I want it. So yes, it is a long day for a couple of us anyway.
There's signs that need to be put up. In fact, they'll be put up a few days before. There's food to be taken care of. One of the things I think is interesting is the fact that that all personnel that are there are get something to eat, and so you have to arrange for that as well.
Yes.
And then the transport of the the transport of the food. It's amazing it all gets done, but it's able to get done. One of the things I wanted to make sure and mention is that we have the people asked about bus passes. In years past, people have gotten on the bus and have produced a bus pass and said, "I'd like to swipe that." Are bus passes allowed?
For this, they are not allowed because this is a special event, and so anyone that rides that day will have to pay a fare. I think it's a pretty fair fare. I think it's a great, you know, from the economical standpoint, I think it's a great way to get to Balloon Fiesta Park. But no, bus passes are not valid for this park and ride service.
Well, we're certainly hoping that folks will listen, especially about the change that we have going on, that they will remember the 2 C's, Cottonwood and Coronado.
Yes, go to Cottonwood Mall.
Yes, that they'll do that. If you have any kind of questions, there are several places you could probably go to, not only to look in the newspaper for any ads, anything like that, but there's always ABQ Ride's website. There will be things on ABQ Ride's website front and center. There will be something, in fact, there's already something on the website, but there will be something on the website that talks, that will be coming up regarding the arrangements for Freedom 4th, and where everybody needs to go.
Right.
And what we're hoping to do is that people, if they have any questions, if they see this or if they catch the tail end of this on TV and they have questions and they don't necessarily have a computer and don't necessarily get the paper, but they do have a phone, what can they do?
They should call 243-RIDE, 243-7433. And I believe as we were talking before we did this taping, there's also going to be some pieces to this, added to this, where we're going to show you visually where to park and ride at Coronado and Cottonwood Mall. So that's the beauty of it too. That will help people kind of get to know where they should park and where the park and ride will be at.
It's a great undertaking. It's a big undertaking. I know that you're probably pretty tired after the whole thing is over, but we do appreciate the work that you do every year, and that the ABQ Ride employees that do every year. Just to reiterate yet again, the parking is on Cottonwood, brand new parking, north side of the mall, right in front of Old Navy, but it's fronts 7-bar loop.
Correct. It fronts 7-bar loop, easy to get in and out. I mean, just
Yes.
use the light off a 7-bar loop. That's the beauty of it. It's really easy to find. We will have signage on 7-bar loop and encores, you know, with arrows and information to get you there. But I think that it's going to be pretty easy for people to get in and out of there and find us. So we're excited about that. You're not going to be able to miss us at all.
Yeah, it's hard to miss the buses too, because we'll have practically every bus and almost every driver
Yes.
that's doing that anyway. So just go where the buses are congregating and you'll be able to see it. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I sure appreciate it. Annette Paez, our Associate Director and also the Operations Manager at ABQ Ride. We certainly hope that you do get the chance to come to Freedom 4th. It beats paying $10 for parking if all you're doing is paying $1, or if you're paying only for 35 cents for your kids or for seniors 62 years of age and up. Mayor Barry always has an admonition that he hopes that you'll just leave the fireworks to the professionals. If you've ever seen the fireworks display,
It's beautiful. They do a great job.
they do, and it's not one of those that has one shell and then you wait about 30 seconds and another shell. This is one of those that you would kind of along the lines of what you would see at the ballpark. It's a pretty impressive display, and we're hoping you'll get a chance to be able to
And they're having a great band this year. Thompson Square, I believe, is the headliner. So there's going to be lots of entertainment there for everyone too. It's going to be fun. It's a great thing for families.
It always is, and even though the work there, it's kind of a constant key thing. It's a lot of fun, though you do leave. I expect to leave tired, but I mostly leave with a lot of adrenaline because you're so kind of pumped up to get everything done. By the time you're going, everything is usually going 100 miles an hour. When you get on that bus, when employees at the very end of the night get on the bus to go home or to go back to either Cottonwood or Coronado, this year Cottonwood, you're very pumped up. So it's going to be quite an experience for employees. But thank you for being here. We certainly hope that you'll be able to get on the bus and join us for Freedom 4th. Leave the fireworks to the pros. Don't burn your fingers. Don't burn your houses down. I think that this will be a great opportunity for you and your family to have fun. So for Annette Paez, I'm Rick DeReyes, Public Information Officer for ABQ Ride. I certainly hope you have a very safe 4th of July and a very enjoyable one, and that we'll see you out at Balloon Fiesta. Until then, take care. See ya.